Dandavat pranams. Good morning, dear devotees. Welcome to Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission morning readings, where we read the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta and currently the pastimes, glories, and teachings of His Divine Grace, Srila Maharaja. In this case, Centenary Anthology. And before we start, let us begin with Shri Vandana. Jaya. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabdutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalitam Shri Vishakam Vidamscha Om Jnanati Mirandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Pamcha Kalpataruvyaschа Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahapadanjaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Nanme Gaura Vishe Namaha Vrindayai Tulasi Devyai Priyayai Kesavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Pradi Devi Satyavatya Namo Namaha Sakala Vaishnava Pare Mora Namaskar Ite Kichwa Parda Nauka Mara Oya Chenuiven Prabhu Jakto Vaktajan Vandana Kuriyami Savara Charana Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sarshi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Jai Shri Vandana Ki Jai. And before we start reading, also, let's take a look to the Sri Gaudiya calendar. Today is October 10. Oh no, October 21st. Amavasya Dipali, offering and placing of lamps or candles on the temples of the Lord. All right. Jai Shri Dipavali Amavasya Ki Jai. Let us begin reading the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavrinda Jai Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading chapter number 3. The external reasons for Lord Chaitanya's appearance. Text 83. Aham evakvashid brahmam sanyasasram ashritaha haribhaktim rahayami kalau papahatan naran. O learned Brahmana, sometimes I accept the renounced order of life to induce the fallen people of the age of Kali to accept devotional service. Text, well, we actually didn't read text 82, so let's read that one. Upa Puranneha Shri Krishna Vachana Kripa Karivyasha Prati Kariyachana Katana. In the Upa Puranas, we hear Shri Krishna showing his mercy to Vyasadeva by speaking to him as follows. Text 83. Aham evakvashid brahmam sanyasasram ashritaha haribhaktim grahayami kalau papahatan naran. O Lord Brahmana, sometimes I accept the renounced order of life to induce the fallen people of the age of Kali to accept devotional service to the Lord. Text 84. Bhagavata Bharata Shastra Agama Purana Chaitanya Krishna Vatare Prakata Pramana. Srimad Bhagavatam, the Mahabharata, the Puranas, and other Vedic literatures all give evidence to prove that Lord Shri Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is the incarnation of Krishna. Pratyakshete kaha nana prakata pravava alaukika karma alaukika anubhava. One can also directly see Lord Chaitanya's manifest influence in his uncommon deeds and uncommon Krishna conscious realization. Text 86. Dekiyana dekeyata avakteragana ulukana dekeyana suryera kirana. But faithless unbelievers do not see what is clearly evident, just as owls do not see the rays of the sun. Text 87. Tvam shilarupa charitahi parama prakirtasi sadvena sadvikataya pralavaischa shastrahi prakyata deva paramarta bidham mataischa Naisvashura prakirtaya pravavanti bodhum. O my Lord, those influenced by demoniac principles cannot realize you, although you are clearly the Supreme by dint of your exalted activities, forms, character, and uncommon power, which are confirmed by all the revealed scriptures in the quality of goodness and the celebrated transcendentalist in the divine nature. Purport given by Srila Prabhupada. This is a verse from Stotra Ratna of Yamunacharya, the spiritual master of Ramanujacharya. The authentic scriptures describe the transcendental activities, features, form, and qualities of Krishna. And Krishna explains himself in the Bhagavad Gita, the most authentic scripture in the world. He is further explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is considered the explanation of the Vedanta Sutra. Lord Krishna is accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by these authentic scriptures, not simply by Vox Populi. In modern age, a certain class of fools think that they can vote anyone into the position of God, as they can vote a man into the position of a political executive head. But the transcendental Supreme Personality of Godhead is perfectly described in the authentic scriptures. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that only fools deride him, thinking that anyone can speak like Krishna. Even according to historical references, Krishna's activities are most uncommon. Krishna has affirmed, I am God, and he has acted accordingly. Mayavadis think that everyone can claim to be God, but that is their illusion. For no one else can perform such extraordinary activities as Krishna. When he was a child on the lap of his mother, he killed the demon Putana. Then he killed the demons Navarta, Vatsasura, and Baka. And when he was a little more grown up, he killed the demons Agashura and Rasabasura. Therefore, God is God from the very beginning. The idea that someone can become God by meditation is ridiculous. By hard endeavor, one may realize his godly nature, but he will never become God. The asuras, or demons, who think that anyone can become God, are condemned. The authentic scriptures are compiled by personalities like Vyasadeva, Narada, Asita, and Parashara, who are not ordinary men. All the followers of the Vedic way of life have accepted these famous personalities, whose authentic scriptures conform to the Vedic literature. Nevertheless, the demoniac do not believe their statements, and they purposely oppose the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees. Today, it is fashionable for common men to write whimsical words as so-called incarnations of God and be accepted as authentic by other common men. This demoniac mentality is condemned in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita wherein it is said that those who are miscreants and lowest of mankind, who are fools and asses, cannot accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead because their demoniac nature. They are compared to ulukas, or owls, who cannot open their eyes in the sunlight, because they cannot bear the sunlight. They hide themselves from it and never see it. They cannot believe that there is such illumination. Text 88. Appana lukaita krishnanna yagna kare. Tathapi tanhara bhakta janaji tanhare. Lord Sri Krishna tries to hide himself in various ways. But nevertheless, his pure devotees know him as he is. Text 88. Ulangita trividha suma samati shayi sambhavanam tava pravibradidmasvavam maya balena babaptapi nikukyamanam Pashyanti kechidanisham dvad ananyavabham. O my Lord, everything within material nature is limited by time, space, and thought. Your characteristics, however, being unequaled and unsurpassed, are always transcendental to such limitations. You sometimes cover such characteristics by your own energy, but nevertheless, your unalloyed devotees are always able to see you under all circumstances. Purport. This verse is also quoted from the Stotra Ratna of Yamunacharya. Everything covered by the influence of Maya is within the limited boundaries of space, time, and thought. Even the greatest manifestation we can conceive, the sky, also has limitations. From the authentic scriptures, however, it is evident that beyond the sky is a covering of 7 layers, each 10 times thicker than the one preceding it. The covering layers are vast, but with or without coverings, space is limited. Our power to think about space and time is also limited. Time is eternal. We may imagine billions and trillions of years, but that will still be an inadequate estimate of the extent of time. Our imperfect senses, therefore, cannot think of the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, nor can we bring him within the limitations of time or our thinking power. His position is accordingly described by the word ulangita. He is transcendental to space, time, and thought. Although he appears within them, he exists transcendentally, even when the Lord's transcendental existence is disguised by space, time, and thought. However, pure devotees of the Supreme Lord can see him in his personal features, beyond the space, time, and thought. In other words, even though the Lord is not visible to the eyes of ordinary men, those who are beyond the covering layers because of their transcendental devotional service can still see him. The sun may appear covered by a cloud, but actually it is the eyes of the tiny people below the cloud that are covered, not the sun. If those tiny people rose above the cloud in an airplane, they could then see the sunshine and the sun without impediment. Similarly, although the covering of Maya is very strong, Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Taibihi eshagunnamayin mama maya duratyaya mam eva ye pradadyante mayam etam tarantite. Dandavats. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the 3 modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. To surpass the influence of the illusory energy is very difficult. But those who are determined to catch hold of the lotus feet of the Lord are freed from the clutches of Maya. Therefore, pure devotees can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But demons, because of their miscreant behavior, cannot understand the Lord, in spite of seeing the many revealed scriptures and the uncommon activities of the Lord. Text 90. Asuras Bhabe Krishna Kabu Nahi Jage Jane Lokaite Nare Krishna Bhakta Jana Stane. Those whose nature is demoniac cannot know Krishna at any time, but he cannot hide himself from his pure devotees. Purport. People who develop the nature of asuras, like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu, can never know Krishna. The personality of Godhead, by challenging the authority of Godhead, but Sri Krishna cannot hide himself from his pure devotees. Text 91. Bau buddha sagaula kesmin daiva shurai vacha Vishnu Bhakta Smrito Daiva Asurastad Viparyayaha. There are two classes of men in the created world. One consists of the demoniac, and the other of the godly. The devotees of Lord Vishnu are the godly, whereas those who are just the opposite are called demons. Purport. This is a verse from the Padma Purana. Vishnu Bhaktas, or devotees in Krishna consciousness, are known as devas, demigods. Atheists who do not believe in God or who declare themselves God are asuras. Asuras always engage in atheistic material activities, exploring ways to utilize the resources of matter to enjoy sense gratification. The Vishnu Bhaktas, Krishna conscious devotees, are also active, but their objective is to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotional service. Superficially, both classes may appear to work in the same way, but their purposes are completely opposite because of a difference in consciousness. Asuras work for personal sense gratification, whereas devotees work for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Both work consciously, but their motives are different. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant for devas, or devotees. Demons cannot take part in Krishna conscious activities, nor can devotees in Krishna conscious take part in demoniac activities or work like cats and dogs simply for sense gratification. Such activity does not appeal to those in Krishna consciousness. Devotees accept only the bare necessities of life to keep themselves fit to act in Krishna consciousness. The balance of their energy is used for developing Krishna consciousness, through which one can be transferred to the abode of Krishna by always thinking of him, even at the point of death. We read in chapter 3, Lila volume 1, and Srila Prabhupada is explaining the contrast between asuras and devas, meaning asuras mean demoniac people. Basically meaning they work for their own sense gratification. Even if superficially doesn't seem like that. And the devas are those who are working for the satisfaction of the Lord.
Is there a word for someone who's in between?
That's a good question. I don't know. But that would be a good kind of way to describe ours. We're kind of asuras in some way. Jaya Mahaprabhu. Okay. You like the idea of Deva?
We have the idea.
Yeah, by the mercy for Gurus though. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant for devas or devotees. Demons cannot take part in Krishna conscious activities, nor can devotees in Krishna consciousness take part in demoniac activities or work like cats and dogs simply for sense gratification. Such activity does not appeal to those in Krishna consciousness. Devotees accept only the very necessities of life to keep themselves fit to act in Krishna consciousness. The balance of their energy is used for developing Krishna consciousness, through which one can be transferred to the abode of Krishna by always thinking of him, even at the point of death. Text 92. Acharya Goswami Prabhupada Bhakta Avatara. Krishna Avatara Hetu Yanhara Ahunkara. Advaita Acharya Goswami is an incarnation of the Lord as a devotee. His loud calling was the cause of Krishna's incarnation. Text number 93. Krishna Yadi Pritibhite Karina Avatara Pratame Karina Guru Bhargira Shankara. Whenever Sri Krishna desires to manifest his incarnation on earth, first, he creates the incarnations of his respectable predecessors. Text 94. Pita Matta Guru Adiyata Manya Ganna Pratame Karina Sabara Pritivite Janama. Thus, respectable personalities such as his father, mother, and spiritual master all take birth on earth first. Text 95. Madhava Ishvara Puri Sachi Jagannatha Advaita Acharya Prakatta Haila Sei Sata. Madhavendra Puri, Ishvara Puri, Srimati Sachimata, and Srila Jagannatha Mishra all appeared with Sri Advaita Acharya. Purport. Whenever the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends in his human form, he sends ahead all his devotees who act as his father, teacher, and associates in many roles. Such personalities appear before the descent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Before the appearance of Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there appeared his devotees like Sri Madhavendra Puri, his spiritual master, Sri Ishvara Puri, his mother, his devotees like Sri Madhavendra Puri, Sri Ishvara Puri, his spiritual master, Srimati Sachidevi, his mother, Sri Jagannatha Mishra, his father, and Sri Advaita Acharya. Text 96. Prakaitya Deke Acharya Sakala Samsara Krishna Bhakti Gandahina Vishaya Vyabhahara. Advaita Acharya having appeared, he found the world devoid of devotional service of Krishna, of Sri Krishna, because people were engrossed in material affairs. Text 97. Kehapape kehapunyakari vishaya boga bhakti ganda nahi yate Jaya baba roga. Everyone was engaged in material enjoyment, whether sinfully or virtuously. No one was interested in the transcendental service of the Lord, which can give total relief from the repetition of birth and death. Purport. Advaita Acharya saw the entire world to be engaged in activities of material piety and impiety, without a trace of devotional service or Krishna consciousness anywhere. The fact is that in this material world there is no scarcity of anything except Krishna consciousness. Material necessities are supplied by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. We sometimes feel scarcity because of our mismanagement. But the real problem is that people are out of touch with Krishna consciousness. Everyone is engaged in material sense gratification, but people have no plan for making an ultimate solution to their real problems, namely birth, disease, old age, and death. These four material mysteries are called bhava roga, or material diseases. They can be cured only by Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is the greatest benediction for human society. Krishna consciousness is the greatest benediction for human society. It's crazy how we've been given the cure for the real problems: birth, old age, death, and disease. And we still don't want to go all in. Text 98. Lokagati dekyacharya karuna hirdaya vicharakarina lokira kaicha hitahaya. Seeing the activities of the world, the Acharya felt compassion and began to ponder how he could act for the people's benefit. Purport. This is a long purport, and after finishing reading this purport, we're going to read Centenarian Anthology. This sort of serious interest in the welfare of the public makes one a bona fide acharya. An acharya does not exploit his followers, since the acharya is a confidential servitor of the Lord. His heart is always full of compassion for humanity in its suffering. He knows that all suffering is due to the absence of devotional service to the Lord. And therefore, he always tries to find ways to change people's activities, making them favorable for the attainment of devotion. That is the qualification of an acharya. Although Sri Advaita Prabhu himself was powerful enough to do the work, as a submissive servitor, he thought that without the personal appearance of the Lord, no one could improve the fallen condition of society. In the grim clutches of Maya, the first-class prisoners of this material world wrongly think themselves happy because they are rich, powerful, resourceful, and so on. These foolish creatures do not know that they are nothing but play dolls in the hands of material nature, and that at any moment material nature's pitiless intrigues can crush to dust all their plans for godless activities. Such foolish prisoners cannot see that however they improve their position by artificial means, the calamities of repeated birth, death, disease, and old age are always beyond the jurisdiction of their control. Foolish as they are, they neglect these major problems of life and busy themselves with false things that cannot help them solve their real problems. They know that they do not want to suffer death or the pangs of disease and old age. But under the influence of the illusory energy, they are grossly negligent and therefore do nothing to solve the problems. This is called Maya. People held in the grip of Maya are thrown into oblivion after death, and as a result of their karma, in the next life they become dogs or gods. Although most of them become dogs. To become gods in the next life, they must engage in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, they are sure to become dogs or hogs in terms of the laws of nature. The third-class prisoners, being less materially opulent than the first-class prisoners, endeavor to imitate them, for they also have no information of the real nature of their imprisonment. Thus, they also are misled by the illusory material nature. The function of the acharya, however, is to change the activities of both the first-class and third-class prisoners for their real benefit. This endeavor makes him a very dear devotee of the Lord, who says clearly in the Bhagavad Gita that no one in human society is dearer to him than a devotee who constantly engages in his service by finding ways to preach the message of Godhead for the real benefit of the world. The so-called acharyas of the age of Kali are more concerned with exploiting the resources of their followers than mitigating their miseries. But Sri Advaita Prabhu, as an ideal acharya, was concerned with improving the condition of the world situation. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrta ki Jai. Jai Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada is saying that those who are the first-class prisoners of the material energies are those who think they are resourceful, powerful, rich, that they have everything made. Those are the first-class prisoners. And they forget or they ignore the fact that the illusionary energy will ruin their material plans. And those most likely are going to take the birth of a dog in their next life. That's what Srila Prabhupada just said. Centenary Anthology, Pastimes, Glories, and Teachings of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Raka Shiradev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. And it's also scary because Srila Prabhupada was saying that even though asuras, meaning those who just ask for their material gratification, and devas, those who are doing it for the Lord, externally they might be doing the same. It looks like they are doing the same. But it's in the consciousness where the real intention is. So externally, two devotees might be doing the same, but one might be an asura and another might be a real devotee. Alright, we're going to read we were reading Faith and Harmony, chapter 9. But I don't know where I put the bookmark. Oh yeah, we were reading the funny pastimes when Sri Advaita Acharya, he made an offense to Mahaprabhu. Because after Mahaprabhu forgave the demons of Jagai Madai. When Mahaprabhu forgave those demons, Jagai Madai, then Sri Advaita Acharya was like, but they're very low class people. Why will we include these low class people in the Sankirtana movement? Because Sri Advaita Acharya was not a low class person in this society terms, in the society context. Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, they were not of a class society either. But anyways, after Sri Advaita Acharya said this, Mahaprabhu went to drown himself to the waters of the Ganges because he felt like some pain in his heart after hearing Sri Advaita Acharya say this. So Mahaprabhu, his reaction was to go to the Ganges and literally drown. But then Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur quickly followed the Lord, and they also jumped in the water. And then Nityananda took the Lord by his shoulders and Haridas by his feet, and they pulled him out of the water of the Ganges. And then Mahaprabhu went to hide. He went to hide with Nandanacharya. And he stayed there for a while. And then Sri Advaita Acharya thought to himself, what have I done? I could not control myself. My aristocratic sentiment came out so suddenly, and it hurt and it struck the sentiment of Mahaprabhu so much that he fled and jumped into the Ganges. What have I done? Sri Advaita Acharya was saying. But then after 2 days, Sri Advaita Acharya decided to fast until death. That's what he resolved to do, to fast until death. And then this news came to Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu felt touched by that, and he went to Sri Advaita Acharya. And they were trying to resolve that conflict. And Sri Advaita Acharya wanted to be chastised by Mahaprabhu. But Mahaprabhu was so humble, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so humble, that he didn't want to chastise Sri Advaita Acharya just because Sri Advaita Acharya was more senior than Mahaprabhu in the lineage of his guardians, in the rank of his guardians. So Sri Advaita Acharya was like, come on, please chastise me. I need to be chastised by you because I know you're not a man. Please chastise me. But Mahaprabhu didn't want to chastise him out of humility. So Advaita Acharya thought of a plan to receive his punishment, and he literally went to preach Mayavadism in Shantipur camp. He went to preach Mayavadi philosophy in Shantipur. And Sri Advaita Acharya was saying, well, the path of liberation is the highest because the path of devotion is so uncertain. Because the Lord does whatever He wants. And it's uncertain if we will receive His grace or not. No matter what we do, we don't know if we're going to receive His grace or not. Therefore, liberation is in our hands. The path of mukti, that is the highest. That is our biggest and highest concern. So then the news reached Mahaprabhu, and then Mahaprabhu literally just went to Shantipur and slapped slapped Sri Advaita Acharya. And everyone was worried that Sri Advaita Acharya was going to die because Sri Advaita Acharya was like an old man by that time. But Sri Advaita Acharya was not suffering out of those slaps and punishment and chastisement from Mahaprabhu. He was happy. So why were we reading these pastimes between Sri Mahaprabhu and his devotees? Because someone asked Srila Guru Maharaj. A devotee asked Srila Guru Maharaj, why two people, two jivas that are in the path of harmony, to achieve harmony, love and affection, why are they coming into clash? For example, like two devotees living in a temple, they both want the same harmony, affection, truth, surrender. Why are they coming into clash? And the answer of Srila Guru Maharaj was that is meant for the Lila of the Lord. That has a purpose to fulfill the pastimes of the Lord. That's why these conflicts happen. It's just Lila, pastimes. That even Mahaprabhu and his devotees are showing that. In this case, Mahaprabhu and Sri Advaita Acharya, they came into clash, into conflict. That was not a mundane type of clash, or conflict, or quarreling. It was, of course, something divine. But it was part of the Lila of Mahaprabhu. So we will continue reading chapter 9, Faith and Harmony, a little bit, for maybe 10 more minutes. In Dwarka also we find clashes. We find in Dwarka, that there was much dispute about a gem. The father of Satyabhama, Satrajit, gained that gem by worshipping the sun god. It was known as the Shamantaka jewel, but it was presently taken away by one after another. Prasena, the younger brother of Satrajit, took the Shamakanta jewel. Shamantaka jewel. He wore it around his neck and went into the forest in order to hunt. While in the forest, a lion became charmed with the grace of the gem. He killed Prasena and took it. Then the bird Jambaban, Ramachandra's servant, fought with the lion, killed him and took away the gem. Anyhow, a rumor began that Krishna had somehow captured the gem and that it was all his diplomacy. Because of this, Krishna thought, the burden is now on me, so I shall have to search for that gem. Take it and give it to its proper place. A bad name has come upon me, so to clear my name, I am to search for the gem. Anyhow, he therefore searched along the way that Prasena went. He then followed the footprints of the lion and found a place where a bear and the lion had been fighting. The lion lay dead. Following the footprints of the bear, Krishna reached a hole in the earth. He entered there, and that is a story in itself. Anyhow, When Ramachandra's servant, Jambavan, finally understood the situation after fighting for 15 days or so, he came out and offered the gem and his daughter, Jambavati, to Krishna. Then again the gem was lost. The suspect was Satadanva. It was suspected that by some means Satadanva had captured it, although it was not the case. On hearing the rumor, Satadanva became afraid. They think I have the gem, so I will be killed. Though he had not taken the gem, the rumor was so much against him that he became frightened and ran away from that place. Because he was running away, Krishna and Balaram followed him. Krishna ran fastest, captured Satadanva and killed him. Searching him, he found no gem and so became puzzled. But this time Balaram had caught up with him and Krishna told him, I have killed Satadanva in vain. No gem is found here. Balaram then exclaimed, Oh, you are deceiving me. You have become so unfaithful. All right, you go back. I'm going to Jarasandha, the enemy camp. And there he began to train Duryodhana. Such Lilas do take place and are to be traced in Srimad Bhagavatam. When explaining all these things, our Srila Guru Maharaj used to say, these hindrances come on the path in order to make it more available and in order to deceive those of less faith and the unfaithful. Those who are fortunate souls will be able to cross over all these incidents and will be hopelessly attracted by the sweetness of the Lila of Krishna. They will be given entrance there. Purposely, these hindrances are posted along the way so that ordinary people may not enter. Krishna Lila will come to those who have deep faith and who have some real taste for the thing. In spite of all these hindrances, it will come to those for whom this is unavoidably charming, and who, by the ascending grace, are helplessly drawn beyond such apparent hindrances. The technical name for this Lila is Asura Mohan. This has been planned in order to deceive the Asura types, those of undivine character. So we are to be careful about all these things. There can be quarrels amongst the parties up to the very highest. With such a beautiful flower, so soft and good looking as a rose, why should there be any thorns? Its roots draw nourishment from the earth, and that sap produces such a soft flower, such a beautiful thing. Why should that sap also produce so many thorns on the stem? So there is thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. There is assertion of a subject. Then comes opposition. Then higher harmony comes in synthesis, where there is found higher grouping, higher unity and harmony. Then again, that becomes the thesis, and so antithesis comes again, both become harmonized. This is the nature of Lila, and such nature is there to help. Sometimes we may find that in order for a drama not to become monotonous, some lightheartedness may be introduced to make the audience laugh. Just as a clown may be introduced in the midst of a drama to prevent any monotony, the Asura Mohan Lila may be necessary to give variety to Krishna's pastimes. We have to properly adjust many things when considering Krishna's Lilas. Jaya Centenial Anthology Ki Jai, pastimes, glorious teachings of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Raka Gurudev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. So this time I'm going to place a bookmark in the page where we left off. It's very beautiful. Srila Maharaj is illuminating what is the nature of Lila, and that is thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. how he described that. We actually have one more page. Let's finish this. But before, what is thesis, antithesis, and synthesis? Is there is assertion of a subject, then comes, and that is the assertion of a subject means thesis. And then comes the opposition, that is antithesis. Then higher harmony comes in synthesis, where there is found higher grouping, higher unity and harmony. And then that again becomes the thesis, and so antithesis comes, and again both become harmonized. This is the nature of Lila, and such nature is there to help. I was astonished to find in Srimad Bhagavatam that when Krishna was about to enter Dwarka, after a long absence, a procession party from the town came to receive him. It is described in Srimad Bhagavatam that included in the procession were prostitutes dancing. I thought, what is this? In Dwarka there are prostitutes? I was shocked, rather, to find this. How can Dwarka accommodate prostitutes? In heaven there are also prostitutes, but we are to analyze what is all the basis of all this. Both good and bad exist, but badness is only found in the mundane realm. What is here must have its origin in the higher realm, and this is only a perverted reflection of that. Everything that is found here is also there first. From there, its reflection has come here as the perverted manifestation. The main difference is that everything in that spiritual realm is full of serving attitude. But here it is all with enjoying attitude. We cannot drag everything within our reason and arguments, but still we are to try to understand these things according to our capacity, faith and realization. Despite all this, sweetness is sweet, and truth is truth. Truth, however strong it is truth. We are to accommodate this in our mind. We shall not think that only this mundane purity is the basis to prove transcendental divinity. We are not to take the standard from here and apply it there. We are to understand service to be so pure. Draupadi had 5 husbands, but if we take her name, then we will be purified. Ahalya Draupadi Kuntitara Mandodariyata Panchakanya Smarit Nitya Mahapatta Nashanam. All these 5 ladies had more than one husband, but they were gained by circumstance. The scholars may take you feel cautious. The scholars make... I'm going to read that again. The scholars may make you feel cautious, but don't think in that way. If you take their name, you will be purified. Such is their position. It is not for lust. It is not for mean lust that they gained so many husbands. But at the bottom of it, all is sacrifice. You are to remember that. You are to study the depth before giving evaluation. You are to understand and follow the basis, the very foundation. Sacrifice can make anything pure. You are to understand the very fundamental things of existence. The degree of purity or impurity does not depend on form, but substance. We are to draw our attention towards that, towards substance. We are to try to understand the substance and not so much the form. Thus ends chapter 9, Faith and Harmony. Jai Srila Maharaj ki Jai. Sacrifice. Jai. We're going to chant Nama Sankirtan and then we'll finish the morning readings. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana Giridhari Gopinata Madana Mohana Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Rupa Sanatana Vata Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Vata Dasa Raghunatha Echai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana Jaha Hoite Vignana Shavista Purana Echai Gosai Jara Muitarada Sata Savara Pada Renu Mora Panchagrasa Tavira Charana Sevi Vatasane Vasa Janame Mora E Avilasa Echai Gosai Jave Vraje Koila Vasa Rasa Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakasha Anande Volo Hari Vaja Vrindavana Shri Guru Vaishnava Parema Jai Damana Shri Guru Vaishnava Para Parmakoriya Shahari Nama Sankirtana Kohe Narottama Dasa Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gurudeva 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 Jaya Gaura Sundar 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 Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jai Mishra Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Deva Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Mishra Shri Bhakti Raka Shri Deva Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Mishra Bhagavan Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Jai Shri Rupanu Guru Varga Ki Jai Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasai Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Shri Radha Krishna Ki Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission Ki Jai Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Vaishnava Mandala Ki Jai Jai Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Bo. Jai to all the online devotees. Ki Jai. Dandavat. Have a beautiful day.